Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking tonight from our front room. And as a senior, 88 years old, and getting older by the minute, we're trying to enjoy every moment we have in life. And it's kind of an interesting time to be. I'm living in an apartment building, a two-bedroom apartment, beautiful spot. And they've got good heat, parking underneath, snow sheds off the vehicles. They're protected from the weather. We've got good heating, good lighting, cable TV, the whole bit. Life is good. We still take the time to go downtown once in a while and visit people, friends of ours, go for coffee and go down and sit down and talk for a few minutes with people we know. We also have to be grateful for where we are in life. And it doesn't matter what age you are, you still have to look back and say, gee whiz, I grew up, in my particular case, I grew up on a farm as a child, and my mother died when I was born, but my dad at the time got his mother, who was my grandmother, to raise me, and she was living with my uncle at the time. There were two of them were living together, and he was a hard-working farmer, and everything was done manually. He had horses, and they were pulling plows, and also discs and harrows and all that. And everything was usually walked behind. If you had a harrow cart, you rode on the cart, and the horses pulled you. But it was a tough life. I can remember seeing him come in through the field with a pair of rubber boots on, gum boots. It was hot outside. Of course, his feet were all sweaty, and sometimes his feet would be bleeding. And it was a tough life. So when he had enough money to get a harrow cart, so that he could ride on the cart and the horses pulled it. Find the house, the horses were out in the hot sun and the dust, but he was able to enjoy his ride a little bit on the harrow cart. On a little bit of it was a two-wheel arrangement, a seat on, you could sit there. So life on the farm was good actually. We grew our own grain and grew our own potatoes and vegetables and stuff like that. And out at the back there was a couple of dugouts made by a D7 crawler tractor. They make a big scoop out about 100 feet long and say 40, 50 feet wide. Make a big scoop out, and what would happen over a period of a year or so, it would fill up with water. And those particular days we drank water, but we survived. Today you probably wouldn't do that because you'd be measuring the water to see how good it was. We didn't have a lot of animals on the farm. Of course, the animals were a long ways away from where the water source was, so we wouldn't have to worry about the manure getting in the water and running down into the drinking water. So in the wintertime, the roads were pretty well blowed in. There were not too many cars in those days, but there was the odd one. And they had the odd snowplow come by, grader or snowplow truck. And in the springtime, the farmers were cutting the trees down so they could have more room to grow their grain and raise crops. So then in the wintertime, the snow would blow off the field, because the field would be a big opening with the trees gone. And when the snow would be laying out there, the wind would come and blow the snow off the field onto the roadway. So the roadway would be plugged in with 2 or 3 feet of snow drifted on, so the vehicles couldn't get by. So in the days after that, in the 1940s, they used to put snow fences in. It was kind of a roll-up fence, slats wired together, and it was put in a roll, and it was tied into big grooves alongside the road to stop the wind from blowing the snow and blocking the highway. Snow fencing. So in the springtime, they'd roll it all up and put it back in the yard, and then all the time they put the snow fencing out to stop the snow from blowing off the yards, off the fields onto the highways, so that the vehicles or the horses and wagons or sleighs couldn't drive on the road. It had to be 3 or 4 feet of snow on the roadway. Yet on the open field, the snow was all blown off. In many cases, they were even taking the graders and plowing the groove out in the field, so for a while the cars and stuff could drive through the farmers' fields, because they couldn't drive on the highways because the roads were blocked. And we didn't have running water. We had a scoop out, but we didn't have any pressurized water system. And there was wood heating, so what would happen, we'd cut the trees down at the back and split them up and pile them up and let them dry, and then in the wintertime, the wood would be put into a wood stove, a cook stove, and also a wood heater. And the thing you had to be careful of is when you ran the wood heater and the stove a lot, the pitch from the trees would dry inside of the pipes, and for creosote. So if you weren't careful, one day you'd get up, you had a hot fire on, and you'd look up and your chimney's all red, all hot, falling down on the floor. It was an interesting time. We have to have a schedule of cleaning the chimney and making sure that all that soot was cleaned out, otherwise we'd get a house fire, burn the house down. It was a different life, but the food was good. There was always lots to eat. We had to grow our own food, and of course we had cows and pigs, and we butchered them and ate them. And there was no running water, and there was no fridges. What would happen, we would go down to about 10 miles away, and the ice on the river there would get about 2 feet thick. So this fellow devised a sawing machine, so they would pull it along, and we'd saw a groove in the ice and make grooves about 2 feet square, 20 inches deep, and go along with a chisel and break it up, and you got these square hunks of ice. So people would come down with their team and wagons or their team and sleighs and load the ice in the back in the wintertime, haul it home, put it into a building and cover it up with shavings, sawdust and shavings from the mills. Called an ice house. So during the summertime you could go out there and take a scoop shovel and clean off some of the chips and clean back the sawdust and the shavings and get a nice block of cold ice. And then that ice would be taken into the house, into either a wooden keg or a galvanized barrel, and it would melt, and we'd have cold water to drink. And toilets, we had outdoor toilets out the back, built out of slabs. Nice, interesting. In the wintertime it was cold, and of course there was not the soft toilet paper we have today. We had Eaton's catalogs, and the 20 and 30 below was very interesting, trying to wipe off some of your butt with the really hard, shiny paper. Not a very interesting time. But a hell of a memory. It was a good time, though. And then the school was a mile away, and a lot of the people had a team of horses hooked up on a wagon or a sleigh, and the kids rode, some of them rode as far as 5 miles to school. In the wintertime, they'd have a little bit of a caboose built on there. Well, sometimes they had a fire inside or some hot rocks to keep the place warm, because it would be cold, 20 and 30 below, and going to school. At school, there were some barns where you could unhook the horses and put them in the barn so they would stay warm during the day, because in the afternoon they had to take the kids back home again. It was a great time, though. The country schoolhouse was a small one. It was about a mile away. A couple of teachers there taught the children about math and all kinds of skills. Then there was a school bus that ran to Dawson Creek 10 miles. Greyhound bus ran there for a long time. So it was an interesting life, and I was very fortunate. Once I got to be 10, 12 years old, my dad was a good mechanic, and he showed me a lot of things about repairing vehicles and repairing sleighs and tractors and stuff. And of course, my uncle learned from him too. So when I got to be 12 or 14 years old, the bigger farmers would come over and say to me, "What are you doing for your holidays this year?" Summer holidays, so we have a couple months off school. "Come over and work for me. Come drive my tractors and operate my equipment. I'll show you how to do that, and we'll show you how to weld, fix the stuff when it breaks down." And it was beautiful. We went through that for a number of years, and then I worked for the Alberta Wheat Pool for about 6 years as an assistant grain buyer out of Calgary, and spent a lot of time working on the seismograph crews, repairing trucks and graders and loaders and stuff out in the field, in the oil field. And then in 1959, I got a job working with the Highways Ministry, July 20th, 1959, working as a repairman, welder repairman. And after a few years, became a shop foreman, and then eventually became a mechanical superintendent. Mechanical superintendent was responsible for 4 of them, and there were 6 of them in BC, and then they cut it down to 4. So the province was divided in 4 pieces for a while, and then in 6 pieces. Each man had an area to cover. So as time went on, eventually in 1988, they decided they were going to privatize, so they sold off all the orange and white equipment and replaced it with new equipment and painted it the brand new school bus yellow, high visibility yellow. And that's where we're at today. So life for me is great. I'm still able to drive and living in a nice apartment. My wife of 55 years passed away in 2018. I have 2 beautiful sons. One is 55, one is 57. And they both live nearby. So life is good. I have a lot of new friends. I have a lot of old friends and a lot of new friends. We're making new friends all the time. And the thing that's happening, I'm in a dinosaur age. It's kind of a time. It means to say that we get old and then we pass on and make room for somebody else. So when we meet for coffee, sometimes we meet people and, 1 week we're talking to them and the next 2 weeks are gone, they're gone. They've died. So we're trying to enjoy every minute of our life by enjoying the things we like doing. Enjoy walking, enjoy driving, we're going down for coffee and visiting people. Still playing the steel guitar. My wife was a really good bass player, and we had Paul Lulitsky for a while. Many years, 40 years, he played the fiddle, but now he's got Alzheimer's is setting in pretty bad for him, so his life is kind of going the other way. And I know I'm slowing down a little bit too, but I'm still walking and talking, and I'm doing this little video just a matter of information. It keeps my mind alive, so it keeps me talking and thinking. And I think as a senior, one thing you've got to do, you've got to keep active. Because if you sit down watching TV too much, your mind goes stale, and you start believing all the stuff on TV. A lot of stuff we get is far-fetched and not true. The only thing we can hang our hat on is the fact that we got a nice warm coat, we got warm shoes, we go outside, we're warm, we're able to walk and talk and enjoy life, meet our old friends, and review the happy times we had in life, talk about the good old days, and but always be happy with where we are. Being grateful for where you are in life is what keeps you going. And you have to realize that we're all going to die one day, but not today. Some people are living to be 100. And we never know. There's no guarantee. You can go and see your doctor and have a medical and check you over and you seem good, and you might fall dead walking out the doctor's office. So the main thing, if there's something you enjoy doing, for Christ's sake, do it today. You want to tell a funny story, or you want to go visit some people, go do some shopping, go and do it today. Don't wait. Don't put things off. Because the stuff we put off, we may never get another chance. Always take an opportunity to meet a new person, talk to them, find out what their life is like, and tell some stories and have a great time. Life is good. God has created a nice place for us. Life is good and God is better. So have yourself a great day and talk to you later. Bye for now.